everyone, I hope you're all well. If you're new here, my name is Olivia and I live in New York City. Today I wanted to share some of the differences between New York City and Chicago. If you guys haven't known, I am from Illinois. I come from a suburb north of Chicago and I lived in Chicago for 8 years of my life. I started in Lincoln Park and moved to Humboldt Park where I stayed for the majority of my time there. Thought it's been long overdue for me to kind of share the differences and what I think about both of them. Chicago has a special place in my heart and will forever be special to me. The place where I grew and found myself and started my adult life. I took a lot of risks there and learned so much there, but New York was always my dream. Actually, the first time that I was here was when I was a baby. I visited with my dad and my mom. My dad is actually originally from Puerto Rico, but he grew up in the Bronx. I came with him again when I was like 11 or 12. Something about that trip really spoke to me and the city really called to me. It was just a place that I knew maybe one day I wanted to end up. Well, not maybe, but I knew I wanted to end up. When I was 18 in cosmetology school, I had the opportunity to go take a class in New York and I took a trip by myself. I stayed in like near Times Square at the Pennsylvania Hotel or something like that. I walked to my class and my class was in Chelsea in a little studio where I learned to do like hairstyling under Vivian McKinder, who is like a big hairdresser name in the industry. That trip specifically changed my life and really just was like, okay, I have to come here, I have to come here. And I visited Soho for the first time. Soho kind of like stole my heart, obviously with the cobblestone streets and the fashion. When I was living in Chicago, I met my boyfriend, Chico. We actually were both living about a couple blocks away from each other in Lincoln Park. We both were moving back home at the same time and starting new jobs in the same area, oddly. We were dating. I just didn't stop talking about New York and how I wanted to move to New York and how I wanted to visit New York. It was our first trip together. We went to New York in, I believe it was 2013. It was his first time and I've been there a few times. But it wasn't until 2.5 years ago that we made the move. I was more obviously convinced on moving to New York than Chico was. He wasn't sold yet, but we were called for his job to come to New York to visit back in September of 2018, I believe. And we stayed for like a week and a half and we went to Brooklyn. Brooklyn was I knew that I wanted to live and it stole my heart in the way that like I could see myself here for a really long time. We thought we were moving to London. We ended up not moving to London. Within a week and a half, his job asked us if we wanted to move to New York for 6 months, and now we've been here for 2.5 years and literally no complaints. I love both cities. Both cities have taught me so much, but I really just love living in New York, and I just want to share the differences that I have seen personally from living in Chicago and New York. Stuff that, you know, I've noticed, my boyfriend has noticed, we both noticed, and just our experiences. So everyone else's experience is different and some people might choose one or the other. I'm not choosing either, but obviously I do enjoy living in New York so much, and I don't really see myself ever going back to Chicago. I love Chicago. I love visiting Chicago. It was my home, my first adult life. It will always be special to me and I always look forward to visiting and going to my favorite spots. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and comment below any differences that you might have noticed from the two. Hear your thoughts. First things first is transportation. So when I was living in Chicago, I had to have a car. When I was living in Lincoln Park, I didn't have a car, but the only way of transportation was by bus. In order for me to even get to the train or the L, I had to walk like 20 minutes to get to like the blue line, or to get to the red line, I had to walk a bit too. So really the closest transportation was the bus, and I took the bus to school, I took the bus to work, I took the bus literally everywhere when I was living in Lincoln Park, and when I was living in Humboldt Park, it was really just the bus around there as well, unless I would go to Logan Square, which is the closest blue line, which is kind of far. I just think that New York City wins when it comes to transportation. I do not have to have a car here. I don't want a car. I do miss some of the convenience of having a car, and I honestly just like driving, but long term I have eye problems and I knew that I didn't want to drive, I don't want to have to drive everywhere. So living in a city where it's walkable was so important important to me, and the trains here are just much more convenient. Both apartments that I've had have been less than 10 minutes to get to the train, less than 5 I feel like, because I walk pretty fast. But I think that transportation obviously just wins overall in New York. You can get anywhere you want, it's more convenient, it's more accessible. When you're walking, there's less open space than Chicago. Like if you're gonna walk, like let's say I'm gonna walk around Wicker Park and get to a different neighborhood, it takes a while, and there's less things to see and more wide open spaces, I guess, which it just depends. But for me, I love walking and seeing things and seeing shops and all of that, so it's just really cool when I'm walking around New York. There's literally something everywhere you go. Every corner you turn, there is something. There's coffee shop, there's a cafe, there's something, and I just think that's really awesome. So I think New York wins as far as transportation, and it's a big reason why I love this city is because of how easily accessible it is. Some other things you don't have to worry about with the car is tickets. Chicago's ticket system is insane. They ticket you for going like 3 miles over. They just ticket you and ticket you. We have so many car tickets. Number 2 is safety. This I think people might have a different idea of, and I know that both cities are not considered the safest, but I can tell you that I definitely feel more safe being in New York City than I did in Chicago, especially the last like year I was living in Chicago. A lot of things came up to where I felt really scared for my life walking to my car in the alleyway. I've had instances where I saw men coming at me, and I was also driving to work and there's 3 guys that surrounded my car, maybe about to carjack me, and we've had people have been victims of carjacking. I would say I feel more safe being in New York, walking around New York, than Chicago, probably because there's more people around all the time, and it just feels safer to me, and there's just more things going on. So I know it's like a hard thing to kind of compare because obviously New York is New York and Chicago is Chicago, but I just feel like I feel safer in New York than I do in Chicago. So to each their own, but that's my personal experience and my personal opinion. Is the access of healthy vegetarian food. Here it is so easy to get anything, like to get any healthy food, to get juices, to get vegetarian options. I feel like every restaurant has vegetarian options. They have so many new vegan options. When you go to the local deli or bodegas, there are healthy options literally everywhere. Organic, gluten-free, vegan, all of that. I just feel like this city is filled with healthy options, even in New York. So I just have to say that New York wins in that part, because when I do go to Chicago, it's just really hard to find vegetarian, vegan options. It is a Midwestern city where meat and potatoes are a big thing, and you definitely do feel that there. I think that I just find it amazing that you can just be surrounded by healthy options. Where is cleanliness? This is obviously Chicago gets the gold star for this one, because New York is dirty and it's really gross sometimes. It smells, there's poop on the floor. You have to watch yourself and watch your feet. Like, you don't want to step in poop. Chicago definitely wins. Chicago is so clean and beautiful, and there's garbage cans everywhere you go being like taken out regularly, and here obviously there's more people, so the trash bins are overflowing. Chicago is definitely cleaner. They also have alleyways, which New York does not have alleyways, so the garbage in New York is obviously thrown out in the front, so you just look at big black bags, and so there's more rats and more roaches. We experience a lot of rats in my neighborhood in Humboldt Park, so it's really no comparison as far as rats goes. But as far as cleanliness goes and just like the appeal of it, Chicago is obviously more clean. But if you just want that New York feeling and you see trash bags all over, like you just remember your first time here and you're like, whoa, why is there trash everywhere? And it makes it unique, I guess. I don't really mind it anymore, but sometimes I am like, yeah, it would be nice not to walk around and have to worry about stepping in poop, and you're also unsure if it's human or dog poop. So, oh, New York is obviously one of the most expensive cities in the world. Even if you pay $3,000 a month, you're gonna be in a much smaller place than if you were to spend $3,000 a month in Chicago. Chicago, you could get a ballin' AF apartment. Oh my gosh, your apartment would be so amazing in Chicago if you paid what we pay here. Pay for your neighborhood, you pay for your surroundings, and yeah, I just feel like it's worth every penny being here, especially if you're gonna make it worth it and make your experience great. We were paying $1,800 for a 3-bedroom apartment that was really spacious in Humboldt Park. And obviously it's Humboldt Park, it's not like River North or anything. Really nice, spacious apartment, $1,800. And here we are in East Village, but we have a 3-bedroom apartment that's $3,000, less space. And this is the pandemic pricing as well. It's not what it usually is. So usually it'd be like $5,000 or whatever here. So yeah, it definitely, Chicago wins as far as affordability, but obviously there is much more to do in New York City than Chicago. It'd be a slower pace. Chicago is definitely much more laid back and slower and at ease, where New York is definitely go, go, go. And with the pandemic, it has slowed down a bit, but you definitely feel it starting to pick up a little bit more. I will say that Chicago definitely has that more laid back, chill feel. It's just kind of like where you're at in your life, I guess, but it just feels more chill in Chicago than in New York. Is segregation. This might be weird to kind of say, but Chicago is really segregated in my opinion, and every neighborhood is kind of cliquey. They put north and south side, and you kind of see the difference between that. They kind of shove people out of the neighborhoods, and yeah, it's more segregated, and you see it definitely. You can go to each neighborhood and kind of see what kind of people are there. In my opinion, it's much more segregated, whereas New York, you literally are in a melting pot, and there's people from every different culture and race and ethnicity in every neighborhood, whereas in Chicago, it's definitely not like that. I definitely say that that's a big issue, and probably why there's so much crime in Chicago. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. The art, the fashion in New York City is undeniable. Chicago, it's a Midwestern city, so really you see a lot of like sports outfits, people repping sportswear, and it's really relaxed and laid back. Whereas New York, you just see a lot of people taking risks and just people dressing all different types of ways, and obviously it's the hub of the world, so you just see a lot of new and exciting things here, and it's really inspiring, where Chicago can feel kind of boring in my opinion. And I just feel so inspired being here. When I walk out my door and I just want to sit at the park or sit at a local coffee shop, you just see all different kinds of people walking and people taking risks and people wearing all different kinds of stuff. I love that about New York City. I love how diverse and how unique everyone is, and how no one kind of looks the same. It's really special to me. And art here, there's galleries everywhere you go, there's museums everywhere. Chicago has amazing museums. I love the Modern Art Museum and all of that, but New York wins, and the thrifting is incredible here. You just have people from all over the world, so you're gonna see all different kinds of things. Chicago surrounding is the Midwest, so really all you can visit is Indiana and Wisconsin. Whereas New York is on the East Coast, and you can visit Boston, Philly, DC, Vermont, upstate. So many options to visit surrounding states here and surrounding places here. It's also on the ocean versus the lake. There's just more to do here. The train rides are easier. Also, the flights are cheaper from New York than Chicago to get international, to get to anywhere on the East Coast. I remember when I was looking to go to Savannah, Georgia to visit my uncle from Chicago, tickets were like $400. From here, it's like $150, because you don't really think it's on, well, you do, like it's the East Coast. So you're gonna be easier access to places on the East Coast as well. So places like Florida, Puerto Rico, Cuba, all of that is gonna be more affordable than from Chicago. So that's really cool to me. The winters. So when I was moving, or when we were moving to New York, everyone was like, why are you gonna go to New York? Aren't the winters really bad? Talking to us like the winters aren't horrible in Chicago. We got in New York November. We got there in winter. The winters are so much more mild than Chicago. Chicago sucks. It is so cold in Chicago. It feels like Antarctica, Game of Thrones. Like, it is so cold. New York is so mild. I feel like it never really gets below like 25, 30 degrees, which can be cold to some, but not as cold as negative 15 degrees in Chicago. Winters are much better here. People don't also think about how New York is on the ocean, so I feel like that makes a difference than in the lakes. So here are way better than Chicago. I don't ever want to go back to Chicago winters. No. The pizza. Okay. I was never a pizza fan before, like ever. I hated pizza. I hate deep dish. I don't like the square pizzas. I don't like I didn't like pizza. I did not like pizza. I would give people my pizza because I didn't like pizza, except Papa John's, because Papa John's is fire. But when I got to New York, even the first time we visited, I had a slice and I was like, oh shit, this pizza is so good. The pizza is my love. I love pizza here. I love it. I eat it every week. I try to stay away from dairy and gluten and all of that, but I will not give up on New York pizza just yet because I'm just getting started. I still have a lot of pizza to go. So I am, the pizza here is incredible. Also way cheaper. Deep dish is not it. It's perfect layer of dough, of sauce, of cheese, of crispiness, of chewiness. Ah, yeah, New York wins on pizza and bagels. I already said this, but diversity, obviously. New York is one of the most diverse cities in the entire world, if not the most diverse city. You can find literally any type of cuisine, any type of person, any type of anything in New York. And that's just incredible. Like if I'm craving arepas, I can go get arepas. If I'm craving tacos, I can go get tacos. If I'm craving Moroccan, I can go get Moroccan. If I'm craving Greek, I can go get Greek. If I'm craving African, I can go get African. If I'm craving Puerto Rican, I can go get Puerto Rican. So literally you can get any type of food. Indian. Literally, you can get anything you want here and it's all so good. So New York wins in that part. The average cost is just more in New York. You're gonna pay more to live in New York. You're gonna pay more when you're shopping, when you're grocery shopping, all of that. You're just gonna pay more, and it's just kind of the reality of it. But you live in New York, so it's just kind of like you get what you pay for in a way, and to me, it's just worth it. If you make it count, you just feel like it's amazing here. So it's expensive, and sometimes you're like, wow, I can't believe I just paid like $7 for a latte, or I can't believe I just paid like $16 for an avocado toast, or I can't believe that like it cost me like $30 to just go out to breakfast for myself. Whatever, I guess, I don't know. That's why you cook at home most of the time. Special, New York is more expensive, Chicago is way more affordable, but I also just feel like New York has more like price ranges. You can get cheap food and you can get higher end food. The last thing, I kind of said it before, but just to do your daily errands, your daily grocery shopping, Target run, all of that, it's more busy. I miss the days when I could go to Whole Foods, when I could go to just do my errands. Chicago, I do remember like going at like 5 and Whole Foods was insane. There's certain times in Chicago, but for the most part, you can kind of like do things in a relaxed way, whereas New York, I remember my first time coming to New York Whole Foods and the line was like, what? I worked at Whole Foods too, and I was like, if I had to deal with all of these people in these lines, I don't know what I would have done. It's obviously, there's more people here, there's more density of people, so it's gonna be more crowded in things, in places, and yeah, so what are you gonna do, I guess. But if I have anything else to add, I'll definitely add it. If you guys have any differences that you notice between Chicago and New York, definitely leave them in the comments below. I would kind of like to know your guys' opinion on, you know, things you've noticed from living in both places. If you haven't lived in both places, do not say your opinion. I'm just kidding. I love Chicago. Chicago will always be special to me, and I can't wait to go back and visit some of my favorite places. And I really personally just want to like go and get a hotel and stay in Chicago and like do a vacation with my boyfriend with Chico, because like whenever we go, obviously we stay with family and stuff, but I just want to go and like live our Chicago life and do our Chicago favorite thing, even though most of the stuff is closed. Thank you, Corona. I love Chicago, I love New York. I'm grateful to have lived in both places. Doesn't mean New York is my last place I will ever live. I would recommend for anyone to live in New York. I think it's an incredible city. It's taught me so much. It just brings a different type of energy to your life, of inspiration and of motivation, of hustle, and it's just really special to me, and I just love the city so much. I'm grateful that I get to live here. I'm grateful that, you know, I get to walk the streets and even imagine my dad and my grandma and everyone kind of walking these streets at some point in their life. I think that's really amazing to me, to know that my dad was here and to know that my grandma was here and I have family here. And that's really cool to me. And I can't wait to like come back with my dad and go to places that he loves and his favorite places. New York is so special and Chicago is so special. If you did like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel. It really, really does help support my channel and help me grow. And if you like any other future videos, let me leave them in the comments below. I am going to be doing a Singapore versus New York City that I learned, or just even Singapore versus the States. I don't know, but I was in Singapore for 3 months and want to kind of do a video on that as well, because yeah, I loved Singapore, but there are definitely some differences that I noticed and would love to go over those. And also, if you'd like to check out some of those old Singapore videos, I'd leave them here. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is @ViaLib, where I'm on there more. I hope you guys are having a great day and see you guys in the next one. Bye!